What's the latest with the Arizona Cardinals head coach search? We've got updates for you here on today's show from the NFL Insiders. What direction are the Cardinals headed in? Welcome into Cardinals Today by Chat Sports. I am your host, Joey O'Donoghue. And let's get right into the first update we have for you on the Cardinals head coach search. Jordan Schultz, NFL Insider, tells us that people have told him the Cardinals are going to have a hard time attracting a top-tier coaching candidate. History has shown they haven't spent big money on coaches. Jonathan Gannon was in the bottom tier of coaching salaries during his 3 seasons. So if Arizona wants a big fish or even a coveted up-and-coming coach, they're going to have a tough time unless ownership really steps up, which of now is unclear. That's why I never expected this to be a John Harbaugh destination, and that's a tough thing to tell a fan base, that the organization is not going to spend top dollar. I don't anticipate anything splashy in the desert. Michael Bidwell is a disgrace to the organization. I feel embarrassed for the Cardinals fan base that he will not go out there and spend quote-unquote top dollar, according to NFL sources here, on what is probably the most important aspect of your team heading into next year. He's a cheap owner, okay? He's a billionaire who is cheap, won't go out there and pay the head coach, the leader of the football team. I mean, are we serious? Does he not care about fixing the biggest part of the offseason for the Arizona Cardinals? No top dollar. I mean, this is supposed to be, look at all the examples across the league where a first-year head coach comes in and turns the thing around. Okay, look at the Patriots. 4-win team, all of a sudden they're a game away from the Super Bowl with the first-year coach, Mike Vrabel. The Jaguars, Liam Cohen, first-year coach, they make the playoffs. Chicago, 5-win team, get Ben Johnson in his first year, they're a playoff team. And Bidwell is too cheap to spend money on improving this organization. It is a tough thing to tell a fan base that this is your owner. And I wish I could say, fire Bidwell, but that's just not how this works, right? He owns the team. It's his decision when he wants to step away from this thing and sell the team. So you're stuck with an unfortunate owner, and the ownership is the issue here in Arizona. It all starts from the top. But if you're curious who they are going to interview, okay, well, Ian Rappaport tells us that the AZ Cardinals are bringing in Jaguars defensive coordinator Anthony Campanile for a second in-person interview for head coach. He is flying in yesterday, Rappaport said it, so he's in the building today. Jacksonville, okay, emergence was spurred in part by Campanile's unit, number 1 against the run. AZ gets another look. And at the moment, this is the only known second interview for Arizona. It's Campanile. And you could think, well, maybe they're waiting out some other candidates. But the vibe I'm getting from Arizona lately is that they want to go defensive-minded leader type of candidate, right? They were interested in Robert Saleh. He was getting a second interview, but he got hired before he could get to the building. Same thing happened with Jeff Hafley. Got hired before he could make it to Arizona for a second interview. And now we're getting the report that the only other second interview is a defensive coordinator. So this seems like the direction that they are trying to go in. And the only other way I could see offensive guys getting the second interview now is that they're waiting for, the Rams season to end and they can get Mike LaFleur back in here. Or Clint Kubiak, when the Seahawks season ends, they can get him back in here for a second interview. But there's been no report that is their intent yet. At the moment, it's just the few guys that I've talked about and showed you. And unfortunately, Bidwell might not spend the money to get a hire that you're probably looking for. But coming up on the show, there is actually one candidate that fits the mold of defensive leader that I think would be perfect for Arizona if ownership would just step up. So before we get into that candidate that could be great news for the Cardinals fans, let's send some good vibes out there. If you want the Cardinals to make the right hire once and for all, finally, then like the video. Don't jinx this. If you want the Cardinals to get the right head coach this time, tap that like button. Totally free to like and subscribe if you're a Cardinals fan. Send some good vibes. Let's hit that like button and get going here. Rebuild this thing quick in Arizona. So how about former Bills head coach Sean McDermott? If you are looking for that leader with a defensive background, McDermott fits that mold, and he's had plenty of success in his tenure with the Buffalo Bills. Obviously, they didn't make a Super Bowl, but if we're even talking playoffs right now in Arizona, that would get me out of my seat as a fan. And look at his winning record in the regular season in Buffalo as a head coach, 98-15 50. It's one of the best win percentage in recent memories for a head coach, the second winningest actually in his time. 5 AFC East titles, 2 AFC title game appearances, a game away from the Super Bowl a couple times, 8 playoff appearances, but this is where things got downhill for Buffalo. Is that he's only 500 in the playoffs as a record, but the regular season, was dominating that division. And Arizona plays in a tough division, I'll tell you that. And we need a guy that has winning culture, has tasted victory before, all right, to set the standard here for the Cardinals. Now, Tom Pelissero gave us an update on Sean McDermott. Is this a possibility that he'd consider Arizona? Pelissero says, if we talk about where could Sean McDermott potentially land next, it doesn't make a ton of sense for him to go into a total rebuild. He's 51 years old. He's been there every year, been in the playoffs every season here in recent years. I don't really see him saying, I'm going to go to Arizona or I'm going to go to Las Vegas. So NFL Insider Tom Pelissero says that McDermott would say no, that maybe the Cardinals are going to call him up and he's going to say, I'm good, which I could see happening. But at the moment, McDermott has not gotten any other interviews. No phone calls that have been publicly reported here. So if he is someone that wants to get back into coaching, and I'll tell you, these guys, these head coaches, they are competitive. They've got drive. And if he's sitting on the sidelines, he's going to be itching to get back into this thing. And if Arizona is one of his only options, I wouldn't rule it out as being a possibility. And when you look at the updated head coach odds for the Arizona Cardinals, well, you might not love this, Cardinals fans, but Vance Joseph is now the overwhelming favorite here, minus 160. But Sean McDermott is second at plus 375. You also see Joe Brady, who, well, McDermott might bring over if he were to take a head coach job, which would be great. Bring your own offensive coordinator, and you can still get that leader type. And then the other guys I mentioned, Kubiak, LaFleur in this mix, and Arthur Smith, I hope to God he's not in this mix, but they did interview him one time. Those are your updated odds. Get in the comment section for me, though. Seeing that Vance Joseph is now minus money, okay, that means he is an overwhelming favorite to be the Cardinals' next head coach. What's your one-word reaction to that, Cardinals fan? Just one word in the comment section when you see that Vance Joseph is still the favorite. Tell me how you're feeling about that. And with the report I showed you at the top of the show that the Cardinals are not going to make a splash hire, well, Vance Joseph fits that mold perfectly. He is not a splashy hire. It's seeming pretty likely that Vance Joseph will be the next head coach. And it's kind of a similar situation to when he was a head coach before, right? And, Denver. And obviously the things that Denver's defense done this year shouldn't be understated, but that defensive roster is a lot different than the Cardinals' defensive roster. And if you didn't like Vance Joseph before, a couple years ago when you interviewed him, and you went with Gannon, why do you think this is going to be the magic solve everything is get Vance Joseph? I don't know. Don't really understand it, but he is the favorite right now, and he seems to fit the mold of all the reports that are coming out right now about the direction the Cardinals are leaning in. Or Campanile, right, since they're bringing him back for a second time, and it's the only known candidate that's going to get a second interview with the Cardinals at the moment. So look out for Campanile to also be a candidate for Arizona. If they're going to go defensive, I might like him a little better, but this is the latest on the Cardinals coach search. Reminder to like the video. If you are a true Cardinals fan, please make the right decision for once. I've been your host, Joey O'Donohue. Appreciate you all tuning in to this edition of the show. Hit that subscribe button. Brand new channel here at Chat Sports, Racing to 2000. Let's beat those other fan bases. Thank you so much. I'll see you next time.